You know what they say about the perfect marriage? It's like a perfect crime. Someone always gets caught eventually. The only difference is, in marriage, the victim usually helps plan their own destruction. My name is Mason Callahan, and I'm 38 years old, with the kind of face that screams reliable husband material, which, as it turns out, is exactly what made me the perfect mark. I manage Riverside Grill, a mid-tier restaurant in Columbus, Ohio, where I spend my days dealing with entitled customers and my nights dealing with an even more entitled wife. Jenna Callahan, my wife of 6 years, works as an insurance analyst at Midwest Mutual. At least, that's what her business cards say. What they don't mention is her real specialty, working overtime in ways that would make her HR department very, very interested. But I'm getting ahead of myself. It started 3 months ago with the phone calls. You know the kind, hushed conversations that stop the moment you walk into the room, followed by that guilty smile that says, I wasn't doing anything wrong, so loudly it might as well be a confession. Who was that? I'd ask, nodding toward her phone. Just Cammy from work. You know how she gets about the Henderson account. Right, the Henderson account. Funny how that account required so many late-night discussions. Then came the overtime. Lots and lots of overtime. Which would have been great for our bank account, except for one tiny problem. Her paychecks didn't reflect all those extra hours she was supposedly putting in. Jenna, your last paycheck shows 42 hours. You worked overtime 3 nights last week. She'd wave me off with that practiced laugh. Oh, you know how payroll is. They'll catch up next month. Next month came and went. Payroll never caught up. But the most interesting part wasn't what she was doing. It was how bad she was at hiding it. Jenna had always been terrible at lying. In college, she couldn't even pretend to like my roommate's girlfriend, without her face giving her away. Now, suddenly, she was running some elaborate double life, and expecting me to buy it. The breaking point came on a Tuesday night in March. I was in the kitchen, cleaning up after dinner, when Jenna's phone buzzed on the counter. The screen lit up with a text message preview. Can't wait for tomorrow night, same place, T. T. Not Cammy. Not anyone from her squad of work girlfriends, who I'd met at company parties. I memorized the number, and went to bed that night with a decision made. If Jenna wanted to play games, I'd learn the rules. The next morning, I called Ray Dominguez. Ray and I go back to high school, where he was the kind of guy who always knew which teachers were having affairs and which students were cheating on tests. Now he runs a private investigation business out of a strip mall office, specializing in what he calls domestic reality checks. Mac, buddy. Ray's voice boomed through the phone. Please tell me you're calling because you need help planning a surprise party, not because you need help proving your wife is cheating. I wish I was. There was a pause. How sure are you? Sure enough to hire you. Damn. Okay, come by the office this afternoon. Bring her work schedule and any receipts you can find. And Mac, don't do anything stupid while I'm gathering evidence. I promised I wouldn't. But as I hung up the phone, watching Jenna get ready for another day of insurance analysis, I was already planning exactly how stupid I was willing to get. That afternoon, Ray's office smelled like coffee and disappointment. The walls were covered with certificates and a few photos of Ray from his police days, back when he was 40 pounds lighter and significantly more optimistic about human nature. So what's the timeline here? Ray asked, pulling out a yellow legal pad. The phone calls started about 3 months ago. The overtime started 6 weeks ago. Yesterday I saw a text from someone called T, talking about meeting up. Ray nodded, making notes. Any idea who T is? No clue, but I brought her work directory. I slid the company phone list across his desk. Ray scanned it, his finger stopping about halfway down. Trent Mills, Senior Vice President. Says here he's married with 2 kids. My stomach dropped. That's got to be him. Probably. Guy makes good money, has the kind of title that impresses people, and he's got that executive look that some women go crazy for. Ray looked up at me. You want me to confirm it's him before we go further? How long will that take? Give me a week. I'll follow her, get photos, maybe plant some surveillance equipment if the opportunity presents itself. I thought about going home to Jenna, pretending everything was normal for another week, while she lied to my face every night. Do it. Ray's surveillance was thorough and depressing. By Friday, he had photos of Jenna and Trent Mills entering the Westcourt Hotel together. By the following Tuesday, he had their pattern mapped out. Every Tuesday and Thursday, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Room 503. She's not even trying to be subtle, Ray said, spreading the photos across his desk. Look at this. They're holding hands in the parking lot. She's wearing that red dress you probably bought her for your anniversary. He was right. I had bought her that dress. For our 5th anniversary, 8 months ago. What's your plan here, Mac? Because I've got enough evidence for any divorce lawyer in the state. I stared at the photos. Jenna laughing at something Trent was saying. Jenna kissing him against his white BMW. Jenna looking happier than I'd seen her in months. I want more than a divorce, Ray. I want her to understand exactly what she's done. What are you thinking? I'd been thinking about it all week. Jenna's family, her parents Carol and Larry, her younger sister Britt, they adored her. She was the golden child who could do no wrong. Her mother bragged about Jenna's marriage to anyone who would listen. Her father always said I was lucky to have found such a good woman. They deserved to know who their daughter really was. Can you set up a camera in that hotel room? Ray raised an eyebrow. That's legally complicated, but possible? Possible, yes. Smart? That's debatable. I'm not asking you to break any laws, but if there was a way to document what's happening in that room, hypothetically, how would someone do it? Ray was quiet for a long moment. Hypothetically, someone might befriend the hotel maintenance staff. Someone might discover that room 503's smoke detector has been malfunctioning and needs to be replaced with a newer model that happens to have wireless capabilities. Hypothetically, and that someone might be able to stream live footage to a laptop if they were so inclined. I felt something cold and sharp settle in my chest. How soon can you make this hypothesis a reality? Give me 3 days. The next 3 days were the longest of my life. I went through the motions at work, managing schedules and dealing with suppliers, all while my brain ran through different scenarios of what was about to happen. Jenna, meanwhile, was practically glowing. She hummed while she got dressed in the mornings. She smiled at her phone constantly. She even suggested we have dinner together Wednesday night, a rare occurrence lately. You seem happy, I said, cutting into my steak. Just feeling good about things at work. The Henderson account is really coming together. The Henderson account, right. That's great. You've been putting in so many hours on it. Well, you know what they say, hard work pays off eventually. I nearly choked on my wine. It certainly does. Thursday afternoon, Ray called. It's done. I've got eyes and ears in room 503. The feed goes live at 6 p.m. And it's recording? Everything. High-definition video, crystal clear audio. You could use this footage in court if you wanted to. But I didn't want to use it in court. I wanted to use it for something much more immediate and devastating. Ray, I need you to do one more thing for me. I'm afraid to ask. I need you to call Jenna's parents and her sister. Tell them I need to speak with them urgently tonight. Family emergency. Mac, what are you planning? I'm planning to give them a front row seat to see exactly what their daughter does during her overtime. There was a long pause. Jesus, Mac, that's nuclear. She made it nuclear when she decided to humiliate me every Tuesday and Thursday for the past 6 weeks. Her family's going to be destroyed. Good, they should be. They raised her to think she could get away with anything. Ray sighed. What time do you want them there? 7 o'clock. Tell them it's urgent, but don't give them any details. And what if they ask questions? Tell them they'll understand everything when they get here. At 6:45 p.m., my living room looked like a family intervention was about to take place. Carol and Larry sat on the couch, holding hands and looking worried. Britt was in the armchair, checking her phone every 30 seconds. Mason, what's this about? Carol asked. Ray sounded so serious on the phone. It's about Jenna, I said, connecting my laptop to the TV. There's something you all need to see. Is she hurt? Larry asked, his voice sharp with concern. No, Dad, she's not hurt, but she's about to be. The laptop screen appeared on the TV, showing the live feed from room 503. The room was empty, but you could see the bed, the desk, the bathroom door. Mason, what is this? Britt asked. This is where your sister works overtime. At exactly 6:47 p.m., my phone rang. Jenna's name appeared on the screen. Perfect timing, I said, answering the call but not putting it on speaker yet. Hey, honey. Jenna's voice was breathy and strained. There was background noise, not the hum of office air conditioning, but something else. Traffic, hotel lobby sounds. I'll be late, overtime again. I looked at her family, all watching the empty hotel room on the TV screen. Don't worry, I said, my voice perfectly calm. Your family is watching you work overtime. There was dead silence on the phone. What? Jenna's voice was suddenly higher, panicked. Your parents and sister are here with me. We're all watching together. Watching what? She was scared now. I could hear it. On the TV screen, the hotel room door opened. Jenna walked in, followed by a tall man in an expensive suit. Trent Mills. Your overtime, of course, I said, and hung up. Carol gasped. Larry stood up so fast, he nearly knocked over the coffee table. Britt started recording with her phone. On screen, Jenna and Trent were kissing. The timestamp in the corner showed 6:48 p.m., 1 minute after she'd called me. Oh my God, Carol whispered. Oh my God, that can't be. That's Jenna, I said quietly. And that's her boss, Trent Mills. He's married with 2 kids. Larry's face was turning red. How long has this been going on? 6 weeks that I know of. Possibly longer. On screen, Jenna was laughing at something Trent said. She looked relaxed, happy, completely comfortable. This wasn't a new affair. This was a well-established routine. My phone rang again. Jenna. This time I put it on speaker. Mason, please, I can explain. Explain what? I asked. Explain why you're in a hotel room with your married boss while telling me you're working overtime. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. Your family understands too. Don't you, Carol? Carol was crying now, staring at the screen where her daughter was unbuttoning Trent's shirt. Jenna, Carol said, her voice broken. How could you do this? Jenna went silent. You could see her on screen, suddenly looking around the room with panic in her eyes. Turn around and wave to the camera, I said. On screen, Jenna spun around, scanning the room frantically. Her eyes found the smoke detector, and her face went white. You're broadcasting this, she screamed, to your loving family, yes. Britt spoke up, still recording. Nice overtime, sis. On screen, Jenna was scrambling to get dressed, crying, pushing Trent toward the door. You could hear her sobbing through the phone. Please turn it off, she begged. Turn off your overtime, I asked. I thought this was so important for your career. Larry walked over and took the phone from my hand. Jenna, he said, his voice deadly quiet. You get home right now, and you bring that son of a bitch with you. Dad, I can't. You can and you will. Because if I have to come find you, this conversation is going to go very differently. He hung up and handed me back the phone. We sat in silence, watching the empty hotel room. Britt was still recording everything, probably for her TikTok account. Carol was crying quietly. Larry was pacing behind the couch like a caged animal. How long have you known? Carol asked. I suspected for weeks. I've had proof for 3 days. And you decided to show us like this? I looked at her, this woman who had spent 6 years telling me how lucky I was to have married her perfect daughter. I decided you deserve to see who Jenna really is, not the version she shows at family dinners. 20 minutes later, we heard Jenna's car in the driveway. The front door opened, and she walked in alone, her face red and blotchy from crying. She stopped when she saw all of us sitting there, the TV still showing the empty hotel room. Where's your boyfriend? Larry asked. He went home to his family. How convenient. Jenna looked at me, her eyes pleading. Mason, we need to talk. Alone. No, I said. We're way past alone conversations. Your family watched you cheat on me in real time. They deserve to hear whatever you have to say. I can explain. Explain what? Britt interrupted, waving her phone. Explain how you've been lying to all of us for months. Explain how you've been humiliating Mason while we all told him how lucky he was. It's not what it looks like. It looks like you're a cheating whore, Larry said bluntly. Carol gasped. Larry! No, Carol. I'm done pretending our daughter is something she's not. She's a liar and a cheat, and she got caught. Jenna collapsed into a chair, sobbing. You don't understand. My marriage, it's been over for months. Mason and I barely talk anymore. So, you get a divorce, I said. You don't sneak around behind my back and lie to everyone who cares about you. I was going to tell you. When? After you'd bled me dry paying for the apartment you share with your boyfriend? Jenna looked up sharply. What apartment? I smiled for the first time all evening. Oh, did I forget to mention? Ray found that too. The place on Riverside Drive that Trent's been paying for. The one where you keep that red dress I bought you for our anniversary. Carol made a choking sound. There's an apartment? A love nest, Britt said, still recording. This just keeps getting better. Jenna buried her face in her hands. I never meant for any of this to happen. But it did happen, Larry said. And now everyone's going to know about it. What do you mean? Britt held up her phone. I mean, I've been live streaming this whole thing. My followers are eating this up. Jenna's head snapped up. You're posting this online? Already posted. #overtime exposed is trending locally. I had to admire Britt's commitment to social media drama. Jenna turned to her parents. Mom, Dad, please. I made a mistake, but I'm still your daughter. Larry shook his head. No, my daughter wouldn't do this. My daughter wouldn't humiliate her family like this. He stood up and walked toward the door. Carol followed, not looking back. Explain it to your divorce lawyer, Larry said. Because that's the only person who's going to listen to your excuses. After they left, it was just me, Jenna, and Britt, who was still recording. You can stop filming now, I told her. Are you kidding? This is gold. My follower count has tripled in the last hour. Jenna looked at me with desperate eyes. Mason, please, we can work this out. I walked over to my laptop and showed her the screen. Hours of footage from multiple nights, all time-stamped, all showing her with Trent. Your overtime didn't match your paychecks, I said. Because you weren't working overtime. You were working under Trent. That's disgusting, Britt said. But she was grinning. It's over, Jenna. Your family knows. Your sister's followers know. And by tomorrow, everyone else will know too. Jenna stood up slowly. What do you want from me? I want you to pack a bag and leave. Tonight. This is my house too. This is the house I pay the mortgage on, while you spend your salary on hotel rooms and lingerie for your boyfriend. She started to argue, then seemed to deflate. Where am I supposed to go? I hear Trent has a nice place on Riverside Drive. Britt snorted with laughter. Jenna went upstairs to pack. While she was gone, Britt finally stopped recording. You know, she said, I always thought Jenna was too perfect. This actually makes me like her more. Because she's flawed? Because she's human. Terrible, lying, cheating human, but human nonetheless. When Jenna came back downstairs with her suitcase, she tried one more time. Mason, I know you're angry, but I'm not angry, I said, which was true. I'm done. She left without another word. Britt gathered her things and headed for the door. This was better than Netflix, she said. Thanks for the content. After everyone was gone, I sat alone in my living room, staring at the empty hotel room still displayed on my TV. The overtime was officially over, but the real work was just beginning. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. Word travels fast in a mid-sized city, especially when it's traveling through social media. My phone buzzed with a call from my restaurant's assistant manager, Kelly. Mac, you need to see the local Facebook groups. Jenna's affair is everywhere. I made coffee and opened Facebook. Britt had been busy. The live stream from last night had been edited into bite-sized clips and posted across every Columbus community group. The comments were brutal and numerous, and always knew there was something off about her. Poor Mason. He seemed like such a nice guy. Trent Mills. Isn't he married to that woman who runs the charity fundraisers? That last comment made me pause. I'd been so focused on destroying Jenna that I hadn't thought much about Trent's wife. But she deserved to know too. Ray called around noon. Mac, you've created a shitstorm. This is all over town. Good. Trent Mills called my office this morning. He's threatening to sue us for invasion of privacy. Let him try. Everything we did was legal. Maybe, but he's got expensive lawyers. You sure you want to poke that bear? I thought about Trent's smug face on the hotel footage, the way he'd laughed while destroying my marriage. I'm sure. That afternoon, I drove to Trent's office building. Midwest Mutual occupied 3 floors of a downtown high-rise, and Trent's corner office was on the top floor. I walked past the receptionist like I belonged there, carrying a manila envelope. Excuse me, sir, do you have an appointment? She called after me. I'm delivering something to Mr. Mills. It's urgent. I found Trent's office and walked in without knocking. He was on a conference call, looking out his window at the city below. I'll have to call you back, he said, hanging up quickly. What the hell are you doing here? I dropped the envelope on his desk. Thought you might want to see these before your wife does. He opened the envelope and went pale. Inside were printed screenshots from the hotel footage, him and Jenna in various compromising positions. You son of a bitch. That's rich, coming from you. I could have you arrested for this. For what? Taking pictures of my own wife? Good luck with that. Trent stood up, trying to look intimidating. He was taller than me, but I'd spent 6 years hauling restaurant equipment around. I wasn't impressed. What do you want? I want you to understand something. You didn't just sleep with my wife. You humiliated me in front of everyone I know. You made me look like a fool. That wasn't personal. It became personal the moment you decided to use my wife as your entertainment. I leaned across his desk. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to transfer to another office, preferably in another state. You're going to leave Jenna alone, and you're going to pray that your wife is more forgiving than I am. And if I don't, I smiled, then these photos get sent to your wife, your kids' schools, your country club, and every client Midwest Mutual has ever had. Trent's face was red now. You can't. I can and I will. See, the thing about being a restaurant manager is that you learn how to handle all kinds of problems. And you, Trent, are just another problem that needs to be solved. I walked toward the door, then turned back. Oh, and Trent? Next time you want to have an affair, maybe don't do it with someone married to a guy who knows how to use a camera. That evening, I was closing up the restaurant when Jenna showed up. She looked terrible. No makeup, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, wearing clothes that looked like she'd slept in them. We need to talk, she said. No, we don't. Mason, please, just 5 minutes. I looked around the empty restaurant. Fine, 5 minutes. She sat down at a corner table. I know you're angry. I told you yesterday, I'm not angry. Angry is what you feel when someone cuts you off in traffic. This is something else entirely. What is it then? I thought about it. Disappointed, relieved, maybe a little impressed. Impressed that you managed to lie to my face for 6 weeks without me catching on sooner. That takes commitment. She flinched. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. How was it supposed to happen? Were you planning to divorce me first, or just keep the affair going indefinitely? I don't know. I wasn't thinking clearly. No, you were thinking very clearly. You were thinking about what you wanted, and you decided that what you wanted was more important than our marriage. Jenna started crying. I never meant to hurt you, but you did hurt me. You hurt me every time you lied about working late. You hurt me every time you came home from being with him and pretended to be my loving wife. I'm sorry. Sorry you got caught, or sorry you did it. She didn't answer, which was answer enough. Your 5 minutes are up, I said. After she left, I called Ray. How's the fallout? He asked. Trent's threatening to sue. Jenna's trying to apologize. Her family won't talk to her. And how are you holding up? Better than expected. Turns out revenge is very therapeutic. Just don't get addicted to it. That way lies madness. But I was already planning my next move. The divorce papers were filed on Friday. By Monday, the story had spread beyond social media into the local news. A reporter from the Columbus Dispatch called, wanting to do a story about social media vigilante justice. I declined the interview. Jenna apparently did not. Tuesday morning's paper featured a front-page story titled, Cheating Wife Exposed by Husband's Hidden Camera. Jenna had given them a sob story about how the affair was a mistake, how she was seeking counseling, how the public humiliation was destroying her life. She also claimed I was harassing her and preventing her from moving on. That was a mistake. I called Ray. I need you to do something for me. What now? I need you to find out everything about Trent Mills, where he lives, where he goes, what he drives, who his friends are. Mac, you're starting to worry me. Don't worry. I'm not going to do anything illegal. I just want to make sure he understands the full consequences of his actions. Ray sighed. I'll have the information by tomorrow. That afternoon, I got a call from my lawyer. Mason, Jenna's attorney, is claiming harassment. They want a restraining order. Based on what? They're saying you're stalking her, that you've made threats against her and her friend. I haven't stalked anyone, and the only threat I made was to expose them if they didn't leave each other alone. Well, they're not leaving each other alone. Apparently, they're moving in together. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. Moving in together? Into that apartment you mentioned. They're calling it a fresh start. A fresh start. While our divorce was still pending. While the whole city was talking about their affair. They were moving in together. When's the restraining order hearing? Thursday morning. Don't do anything stupid before then. Thursday morning. I sat in a courtroom, listening to Jenna's lawyer paint me as an obsessed ex-husband who couldn't accept that his marriage was over. Your Honor, Mr. Callahan has engaged in a systematic campaign of harassment against my client. He secretly recorded her private moments and broadcast them to her family. He's threatened her partner with physical violence, He's using social media to destroy her reputation. When it was my turn to speak, I stood up slowly. Your Honor, everything I did was legal. I recorded my wife's adultery using a licensed private investigator. I shared that information with her family, who deserve to know the truth. And I haven't threatened anyone with violence. The judge looked tired. Mr. Callahan, regardless of the legality of your actions, do you intend to continue contacting your wife or Mr. Mills? No, Your Honor. I have no desire to speak to either of them ever again. Then I'm going to issue a mutual restraining order. Both parties are to stay away from each other except for necessary divorce proceedings. Outside the courthouse, Jenna's lawyer approached me. My client wants to settle this quickly and quietly. She's prepared to waive any claim to the house or your retirement accounts. In exchange for what? In exchange for you stopping the public humiliation campaign. I looked across the parking lot, where Jenna was standing next to Trent's white BMW, both of them watching me. Tell your client that the campaign stops when the consequences do. That evening, Ray called with Trent's information. He lives in Worthington, big house on a golf course, drives that BMW you saw, plus a boat he keeps at the marina. Kids go to private school, wife volunteers at the hospital. What's his routine? Gym every morning at 6 a.m., office by 8, lunch at the country club most days. Very predictable. And his wife, Sarah Mills, 42, runs a non-profit for kids with cancer. From what I can tell, she has no idea about the affair. I thought about Sarah Mills, probably planning charity events while her husband destroyed families. Ray, I need one more favor. I'm afraid to ask. I need you to arrange a meeting with Sarah Mills. Mac, no, leave the wife out of this. She's already in it. She just doesn't know it yet. Ray was quiet for a long moment. What are you planning? I'm planning to give her the same gift Jenna's family got, the truth. Saturday morning, I met Sarah Mills at a coffee shop in Worthington. Ray had told her I had information about her husband that she needed to hear. She was smaller than I'd expected, with graying hair and kind eyes. She looked like someone who spent her life helping others. Mr. Callahan, I'm not sure why you wanted to meet, but I slid a tablet across the table. Mrs. Mills, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this, but your husband has been having an affair with my wife. Her face went white as she looked at the photos on the screen. This can't be real. I'm afraid it is. This has been going on for at least 6 weeks, probably longer. She scrolled through the evidence, her hands shaking. Where did you get these? I hired a private investigator when I suspected something was wrong. I thought you deserved to know. Sarah Mills stared at the photos for a long time, then looked up at me with tears in her eyes. Why are you showing me this? Because someone showed me, and it changed everything. Because you deserve better than being lied to every day. What do you want from me? Nothing. I just wanted you to have the same information I have. She closed the tablet and slid it back to me. What are you going to do now? I'm getting divorced. What you do is up to you. That night, Trent called me. You son of a bitch. You told my wife. I gave your wife the truth. What she does with it is her business. She's talking about taking the kids and leaving me. Maybe you should have thought about that before you started sleeping with married women. This isn't over. Yes, it is. Your affair is over. My marriage is over. And your threats are over. Move on with your life, Trent. But I knew it wasn't over. Not yet. The next few weeks were relatively quiet. Jenna and Trent kept a low profile, probably hoping the story would fade from public attention. Sarah Mills filed for separation and took their kids to stay with her sister in Cincinnati. The divorce proceedings were moving smoothly. Jenna was being cooperative, probably hoping to end things quickly and move on with her new life. But I wasn't ready for things to be over. The final piece of my plan came together when Ray called with an interesting piece of information. Mac, you remember how Trent was so worried about his reputation? Yeah. Well, it turns out he's been embezzling from the company. Small amounts, spread out over months, probably to pay for that apartment and the hotel rooms. How do you know? Sarah Mills hired her own investigator to look into their finances for the divorce. She found some irregularities and shared them with me. Is she going to report it? She's thinking about it. But she wanted to talk to you first. I met Sarah Mills again, this time at her lawyer's office. She looked stronger than before, more determined. Mr. Callahan, my investigator found evidence that Trent has been stealing from Midwest Mutual, probably to fund his affair with your wife. How much? About $30,000 over the past year. I whistled. That's serious money. It's a felony. He could go to prison. Are you going to turn him in? She was quiet for a moment. I want to. But if I do, it'll destroy our children's lives completely. They'll lose their father, their home, everything. What do you want from me? I want to know what you think I should do. I thought about Jenna and Trent, probably planning their future together, while Trent's wife and kids suffered the consequences of their affair. I said slowly, that actions have consequences. And I think Trent has been avoiding his consequences for too long. So you think I should report him? I think you should do whatever helps you sleep at night. Sarah Mills nodded. Then I know what I'm going to do. The next morning, Trent was arrested at his office. The charges were embezzlement and fraud. The local news picked up the story immediately. Midwest Mutual executive arrested in embezzlement scandal. Insurance VP accused of stealing to fund extramarital affair. Local man's revenge leads to corruption charges. That last headline was my favorite. Jenna called me that afternoon, hysterical. Did you know about this? Did you know about the money? I knew Trent was a liar and a cheat. I didn't know he was also a thief. They're saying he stole money to pay for the apartment. Sounds like you picked a real winner. Mason, this is serious. They're asking me questions. They think I might have known about it. Did you know about it? No, of course not. Then you don't have anything to worry about. Don't you understand? This ruins everything. My job, my reputation, my future with Trent. Jenna, your reputation was ruined the moment you decided to cheat on your husband. Your future with Trent was ruined the moment he decided to steal money to impress you. I didn't do this to you. You did this to yourself. She hung up on me. That evening, I was at the restaurant when Britt showed up. I wanted to thank you, she said. For what? For showing us who Jenna really is. I know it was brutal, but we needed to see it. How are your parents handling it? Dad's still furious. Mom's heartbroken. But they're both glad they know the truth. And how are you handling it? Britt grinned. Are you kidding? This has been the best content I've ever had. My TikTok account has gone viral. I'm getting sponsorship offers. You're monetizing your sister's affair? Someone should profit from it. I had to admire her entrepreneurial spirit. What's going to happen to Jenna now? She'll survive. She always does. But she's going to have to do it without the family safety net she's always relied on. And Trent? Trent's going to prison. His wife is taking him for everything in the divorce, and Midwest Mutual is going to make sure he never works in insurance again. So it's over? Almost.